Hello and welcome to Our Ventura. My name is MB Hanrahan and my guest today is again Lee Sherman from the Hillsides Conservancy. Lee, why don't you describe your job description and we'll get going.
All right, the development manager for the Ventura Hillsides Conservancy, and we are a land trust, a 501c3 nonprofit corporation that seeks to preserve and protect open space within Ventura and to provide public access to it.
And now down by the Ventura River, the Hillsides Conservancy has bought a piece of property, and we are going to continue our conversation about a number of things, as many as we can get in. The river is being developed as hopefully a park eventually, where the public can go, and that deals with the removal of two things: the removal of people that live down in the river bottom and the removal of a lot of invasive non-native vegetation. Would that be about right?
That's correct. And we've made a lot of progress on both of those fronts.
Yes.
Just to clarify, we didn't purchase the property, it was actually donated to us.
There we go, thank you.
Really cool. By a
But
guy
you're the owners now.
We are the owners.
Okay,
it is
great.
now
Perfect.
Private property that's going to be used as public open space. We should be opening it to the public in the spring of this year.
Wow.
We're really excited about that. As you know, I think we talked back in late summer, early fall, and we had been doing trash cleanups and working with many of the social service agencies as well as the city of Ventura to provide a hand up, not a hand out, to some of the people that were living in the river. Most of the people that we met down there are aware of the fact that their time down there was kind of limited. This is a delicate ecosystem. There's a very important, vital resource for Ventura. It's our drinking water source. And as an ecosystem, it was not, it's not meant to have 50 to 100 people living down there without sanitation or without trash facilities. So while the river is used by the public, when it passes through private property, it becomes the private property owner's responsibility to make sure that the river leaves their property the same way it came in. We're responsible for any effluent, for any runoff, for any, there's a TMDL law, it's called the total maximum daily limit of trash that can come out at the waterway into the ocean. And
So there seems to be a shift. It's very laudable, and as a conservator now of this property, I'm sure you're being an example, because it was news to me of how much of the river was actually owned by people. I don't know, and I think people don't really realize that.
Sure.
So it's really up to the landowners and the property owners to follow through with this cleanup and non-trespassing, if however you want to call it. There's not so much, people think that the government can come in and start laying down all these laws and such, and really it's private property.
It is. We only work with willing landowners. We're not trying to use eminent domain. We're not trying to compel anybody to acquire land to add to the parkway. We've got some really great parcels that are little nodes that are accessible very easily from the bike path, the Ventura River Trail that goes all the way from Ventura to Ojai. And many times, I know you're familiar with that trail, how many times do you ever get off and stop and get off your bike and go check out the river or take a walk around or do anything down there? There's not a lot of opportunities to do that until you get north of Foster Park into the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy's preserves.
Why don't you describe this idea of, well, what we've been talking about, of how you're going to open it up to actually encourage people to come down for day use?
Well, exactly. The first, like you said, we've had to remove a lot of invasive vegetation.
Right.
We've had to get rid of a lot of the big permanent camps that are down there. And we've, since I've spoken to you last, we've had several monthly cleanups. And we've removed, I would say, roughly 80 to 100 tons of trash from that 9-acre property, including mattresses, couches, big items. We've filled many roll-off dumpsters. E.J. Harrison has been very helpful with that. But the idea is that once we get the land looking better, it's not full of trash, it's not full of arundo, people are going to come down and start using it for activities including, it's a great spot for birders. It's a great spot. We're going to build a trail system in there so people who run on the bike path can veer off and cruise around trails in the river bottom a little bit. The trails will connect to the RV park, to Emma Wood, to the State Beach. It'll all be a hub for all this other, it actually connects to the De Anza Trail, which is a nationally recognized trail that goes all the way up the California coast.
How are you going to invite people? No, you just, hi, come on down. I've heard some talk about it. So, are we looking at a year? Are we looking at 6 months?
We're looking at a late spring, probably late March this year, grand opening.
2013 or
2013.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had the property almost a year. We've been working on it very steadily with, I think I've had over 500 volunteers since we've acquired the property, have been down there to help us with our monthly restoration activities, which is pretty big. And these people are spreading the word. These people are really excited to see the fruits of their labors, and we're really excited to share that with them and with the public.
Okay, so people listen up, because it's going to happen. Now, my personal experience is I actually did attend a Friend of the Rivers meeting, which the fourth Thursday?
Fourth Tuesday of the month, usually at Patagonia.
There we go. Okay, so, and anyone can go, and there I could see with my own eyes the coalition of government agencies, social service agencies, and I would say, land conservation / preservation / restoration agencies, and the general public hashing this out. I heard that there were people that being presented, people that were living down at the river bottom being presented with their alternatives, where actually some people do take up the fact that they could get some vouchers perhaps to go stay, in a transitional home, avail themselves of veterans benefits or Social Security benefits that they may not be availing themselves to, and it heartened me. It seems like, and you can share a little bit about your experience, and you talked about the hand up, that there's been a shift of kind of like an eradication of a population as opposed to, or just sustaining of a problem, to actually, this needs to be solved.
I think there are very few people who want to live in the Ventura River, and by partnering with the City of Ventura, the Salvation Army, Project Understanding, the idea was, if we're going to make these people leave, we have to make it as easy as possible. There was no drop-dead date, you have to be out of here. We gave people months in some instances of notice, and we surrounded people with social services, with opportunities to make the change. But it's got to come from the person themselves.
Right.
The person has to decide for themselves, I'm tired of living out of doors, I'm tired of my safety being threatened, I'm tired of my health being at risk, I need to make a change. If you can help convince people along that line and give them resources that'll make it easier to do that, that was the goal of this program. And we really, you're not going to get a lot of support for just displacing an entire population wholesale like that. We really made it a very gradual process. The county really came in big with a voucher program to help people get into the cheapest monthly rent in Ventura for, say one of those motels on Thompson is $500 a month. That's sometimes all people can get from their disability or insurance or Social Security. So that really goes a long way to helping the transition a lot easier.
It's so important to see this, for me, to see this land restoration, and I do say restore because you're restoring it to what its natural state was.
We used to use it very often for recreation before the 33 went in. And an unintended
Fishing,
consequence
camping.
of it, yes.
Oh goodness! So in restoring this environment and actually giving it back to our community, right? Repurposing it for its original purpose. Actually, weirdly, it's not just about. It's kind of possibly restoring a population, restoring a population to living as people can, and what we would want most for folks to have the very same things that we treasure for ourselves.
Sure. I mean, we have a great program the Turning Point Foundation does called River Haven. Really, it's a shame that they don't have more availability, more but But it's really, you know, the people that I met down there really were understanding. They you know, realized that nobody does it on purpose to pollute a river down there.
It's not someone's life dream to be living down there, maybe.
Exactly. So the easier you can make it for people to make that change, the more positive experiences you can wrap around what's going to happen to the land. You know, the fact that we're not just kicking them out to kick them out, but we're kicking them out. I don't want to say kicking them out, sorry. But that we're asking them to not live there is because we want to recreate there. We want it to be safe for our children. You know, I grew up in New York, right near the Hudson River. There was a lot of recreational activities down there for me. I never had to fear stumbling across a camp or you know, disturbing any kind of behavior like that I wasn't, you know, child appropriate.
Right. Well, it seems to be continuing in the shift of perspective of dealing with, again, the homeless population and opening up our river, getting it back in our community, that just saying that it's illegal to live down there is not enough, and giving people tickets, it's not working.
Sure.
It is not working. So we need solutions. And
that's
by
where
bettering,
the homeless court has come in really
exactly.
big. The program that was modeled after the one up in Santa Barbara from the people I've talked to in the Ventura Police Department. That's going really well. It's you know, it costs a lot of money to keep arresting people over and over for the same things. If
right.
you can present alternatives and say you don't have to go to jail, but if you can get in a program,
you have to do this, and this.
Exactly.
See this caseworker, you know, enroll in this program. Exactly.
And it's a tough transition to make, but I think, you know, sometimes people it doesn't take the first time, it doesn't take the second time, but
the opportunities have to be there.
It's always going to be there, and we're always going to keep offering that.
When I was at the meeting, an issue came up, and I didn't feel like it was answered, so I want to hear your answer because you allayed my fears somewhat. And it was in removing it. People need to understand, in removing this arundo, and it's the grass that everybody sees so much. They think it's the tall grass. It's not bamboo. They think, oh, I see this stuff all around. It must be here, and it's very invasive. And so the method of removing it is not just cutting it down. You actually have to spray it down or daub some insecticide on it. And stuff like
well, the cut and paint system of herbicide application is going to have to come into play on our property very soon.
Right.
There are, you know, there's great things to be said about not using it, but when we're going in there and cutting it and removing the biomass, what we're actually doing is stimulating the growth, just like, you know, eventually when you're shaving,
right.
It grows back thicker. And
the effect
being
on
that
the water is...
we have volunteers that want to see this happen in their lifetime, mm-hmm. You know, we can't continue to quote mythology, to be Sisyphus and keep pushing the rock up the hill to have it roll back down and grow back every morning. You know, we need a final answer to make this, you know, have an actual sunset date to when we're going to be done with the arundo. And the county has been doing a lot of it. They do it upriver.
Do you feel confident that the toxicity of the insecticide introduced is not of such a substantial amount as to put the water in the water in danger?
What we plan on using, Aquamaster, is approved for riparian use. Okay. It's been tested. It's not harmful to humans. It's not harmful to animals. You know, I think it's, compared to a lot of the stuff that goes into that river from agricultural runoff, from fertilizer, from other things,
okay,
it's the lesser of quite a few evils.
All right, and on that comforting note, how do people get in touch with you?
You can check out VenturaHillsides.org, and you can come to a Friends of the Ventura River meeting every fourth Tuesday of the month. You can check out friendsoftheventuraRiver.org too and sign up for our emails.
I'm so excited. Lee, thanks again. And Lee Sherman, my guest on Our Ventura. I'm MB Hanrahan, and thank you very much.